Hey, good evening, everybody. Peter Vexelman here. Good evening, good evening. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Here we are. It is Tuesday night. We've been doing these for as long as I could remember. As a matter of fact, when we initially came up with the partner-driven model, this was like the very first thing we decided to do. We're like, how are we going to get the messaging out to the people? Like, how are we going to be talking to our existing pack, and how do we talk to our new pack? And we came up with these Tuesday night webinars, and here we are years later, still fully committed to them. We found that these Tuesday night webinars not sometimes, but actually more times than not, tend to be the gateways into our world. And for people that get into our world, they seem to be kind of like a point of contact that even our existing partners are always on top of and part of. So my name is Peter Vexelman. We're going to get started here in just in a minute or so. I'm here by myself today, which is cool. I'm excited to do that. I know I'm going to see a number of you guys. Remember, Partner Driven Live. We're going to have an amazing live event coming up here in Atlanta, Georgia this weekend, June 26th, June 27th. I'm not going to spend too much time talking about it here tonight. Matter of fact, past this mention, you probably won't hear me discuss it too much beyond that. But I will tell you, if you want to elevate yourself in the real estate investing business, whatever that means to you. To some people, elevating means doing that first deal. To some, it may be doing their 10th deal. To some, it may be you're already partnering with us and you're just like, okay, I still got to push forward. To some, maybe you're not yet partnering with us, but you were like, what does it mean to partner with the gang? No matter what category you fall into, be here June 26th, 27th. That's this Saturday and Sunday. We've been fortunate enough. We actually had to shut it down registration last Friday, but here in Georgia, they've pretty much lifted all the COVID restrictions. So now we're able to get a couple more seats in. So we were able to, on a very selective basis, open up the registration link again, just for a very few select people. But if you want to learn about real estate this weekend, if you want to elevate your own game in real estate and even in life, we're going to be talking about a lot of life things. If you know me, if you follow me on social media or any other platform, you know I'm a big believer in leveling up in different principles of success. So we're going to be discussing that also. So Partner Driven Live, I'm sure the link will be in the bio here. I strongly suggest that that you come. Having said that, I know Julie would say here, if she was here tonight right now, she'd say, put in chat where you are zooming in from. We have a lot of different people here zooming in from a lot of different locations, which is very exciting to us. We're happy that you guys are here. So let me know in chat. It's funny. I got this. This is like a perfect example of how technology helps you, but sometimes not totally. So what happened, if you could see me here, I have this new mic. If you were to flat, I don't want to move anything because I know I'll probably make it all fall down. But if you were to move the camera over there, I have all this new equipment. I have this lighting behind here. My team's been on me forever. So finally they're like, we're doing it. They ordered it. They came here to set it up. But here's one thing nobody thought about. The mic is here. The screen is there. And I can't even see it. I mean, I could see it, but like I'd say, put something in chat and you're chatting it up right now and you're typing it up. They didn't think the proximity to the screen to where to set up the mic is pretty far away. So all that means is we're going to recalibrate. We're going to readjust. That's not a good way of doing it. We're going to recalibrate. We're going to readjust, and we're going to reset this thing up. I'm going to have them come back here after our live event. But don't be shy anyway. Put it in where you're zooming in from. Let me know through chat. Let's see if I could put it up. Let me know through chat if you're planning on coming to the live event. I see Connecticut in the house. I see California. Bill, what's up, Bill? Augustine, Florida. Love Augustine. We've done hundreds of deals in Jacksonville, but we had a place in Augustine. So whenever we go to our Jacksonville offices, if we didn't stay in Jacksonville, we'd always stay back in Augustine. Arkansas in the house. What's up, George? I see that. So very, very exciting. Vegas in the house. I like it. I like it. We were just in Vegas about a month ago. We actually landed in Vegas, spent a night or two there. We rented a car with our friends, went through Utah, through Arizona, and we did like a 3 or 4 state trip like that. And that was really, really, really cool and really, really fun. So, all right, let's get rolling. All right, guys, today we're going to talk about the State of the Union. And I started doing these State of the Unions really probably at the most important time to a lot of us as investors. I don't know if it was the most important, but it was definitely the most unusual time. And that's when COVID hit about a little bit over a year ago now. And when COVID hit, everything was thrown into flux. Economy, jobs, families, certain people's healths, businesses. I mean, COVID was an unprecedented event. So right at the time that COVID hit around March of last year, people were constantly asking you the same question. Well, what's going on? Well, how are you interpreting what's taking place? And so I decided that every couple months I would do what I would call a State of the Union, kind of like, how are we seeing it? Not professional predictors that don't do anything, not professional analysts that never participate in whatever they're predicting, but like from our standpoint, real life investors, we got a unique vantage point in this, is that we do deals all over the country. So I have a unique vantage point of really, really being able to zero in on different markets, maybe potentially stay away from other markets. And so I said, let's start doing these State of the Unions, and they become very popular. And so tonight I'm going to do a State of the Union, how I see the real estate market right now, what I'm seeing the opportunities are, what I'm potentially seeing may not be the opportunities, and like kind of how are we steering the ship. But before I get started, because I know there's always new people on these calls, on these Zoom meetings, I want to tell you a little bit of history of who I am and what Partner Driven is all about. But by profession, if somebody asks me, who are you and what do you do, Peter? I am a real estate investor. I'm a 22-year veteran in this business. I've done thousands of real estate deals. I've done them all over the country. I've done all kinds of deals, houses, apartments, land, commercial, developments, you name it, pretty much. As long as that type exists, I've probably done it. I've also done pretty much all the techniques and strategies. I've wholesaled, I've retailed, I rented, I've done creative strategies, I've done the fix and flips, I've done the investment strategies, I've even done realtor type of strategies with a real estate team that we built out. So between techniques and strategies, I have a vast experience across the board, to a tune now of well over 3,400 deals completed. Now, a lot of times when I say to people that kind of quantity of deals, they think, wow, 3,400 successful deals. This guy is absolutely out of the ballpark. No, I never really want to admit it, but not all of them were successful. All this to say, the other experience I have in this business and why, I have some credibility in terms of talking kind of like the State of the Union or where I see it. I've been on both sides of the equation as this business. I've experienced some tremendous highs, but at the same time, I've experienced some tremendous lows. I've experienced some tremendous breakthroughs, and I've experienced along the way some unbelievable roadblocks. So you name it, I've done it. I've been there, done that. And in probably the most important thing I could say after 22 years and the things I've done is that I'm still standing. Because I will tell you one thing about the real estate investing industry. There's not too many of us who've been at it for a couple decades or really over a couple decades for me now and who are still standing. This business tends to knock the crap out of people, and sometimes to a tune of not ever being able to recover and come back. And I have been knocked out. I've been made homeless because of this business. In the crash of 07, 08, I lost everything I had made up to that point. So I have been knocked down pretty harshly by this business. But I could tell you, having said all that, this is an incredible business. And the model that we run with right now, which is known as the partner-driven real estate model, is an incredible model, both from our end and from our partner's end. And what we do here at Partner Driven is we basically partner with people all over the United States, whether it's a brand new investor who's never done a real estate deal before, or a savvy investor who may have done 50 deals, but now they're at the ceiling. They can't figure out, how do I get to 100? How do I get to 200? How do I get to 1,000 deals? So we do not care who our partners are, but we want them to be go-getters, hustlers, long-term players, no quit attitude. That's what we expect out of our partners. What we give to our partners in exchange for that is very simple. We provide what are known as pillars of success when it comes to real estate investing. Number one, we coach and mentor our partners. I can tell you across the board, whenever I did have dips in this business, okay, it is, if you're going to just like lay it out, why did I have the dips? Why did I lose what I lost? Why did I pretty much make myself homeless? It's very simple. I didn't know what I was doing. Okay. And because I didn't know what I was doing, it was easy to take advantage of me. Because I didn't know what I was doing, it was very difficult for me to make the right kind of decisions. So knowledge is an incredibly important thing in real estate. We coach and mentor all of our partners really overboard. That's the best way I could describe it. We over deliver when it comes to that. Number two, lead gen is, real estate. Here's one thing I've never heard anyone say in this business. Wow, it is so easy to find a great deal. I just never had such, it's like going to a supermarket and picking up groceries. I have never had anyone in my life tell me that, because that is not the fact of this business. The fact of this business is that it's very difficult to find deals. Okay. Very difficult. And it's very difficult even at our level. So what we do is we actually get involved and help our partners find incredible real estate deals. Okay. We have a system called, Deal Engine HQ, and that is literally a proprietary CRM system that on behalf of our partners, local partners across the United States, markets for them, identifies sellers of properties. And when it does, it flips that lead literally to our partners. So our partners literally have seller leads or owner leads that want to sell handed to them. Next, we provide technology to our partners. Very important, very critical. Without technology, I think without technology, you're going to be wasting a lot of time. You're going to be chasing a lot of dead ends, and you're going to be very disappointed in this business. So technology is an absolute must-have. We have the Deal Driven app, absolutely top of the line app that provides everything that really any investor needs at their fingertips. And right from their phone, they can access information. You could drive around your neighborhoods without ever leaving your easy chair. You can get access to all the data in terms of owners and things like that. So we provide that to our partners. When we find the right properties, I provide all the capital to do the deals. That's very important. Make no mistake about it. Real estate is a capital intensive business. Okay. A lot of times people will tell you, well, it's not, you can do this with no money down. And I'm telling you, they're leaving out a lot of facts. There's carrying costs. There's error costs. I don't care what kind of deals you're doing. You got to have some kind of capital in this business. I provide all of that when we find the right deals. The other thing I do, which is very important, I assume all the risk and liability. And that's important because when things go wrong, and believe it or not, after a couple decades in this business, things still go wrong. Okay. It's just the nature of the business. It's just any business. Things don't always go the way you plan. But the thing is, I absorb all the risk, and there is risk and there's losses, and that's all on me. When we, if a property for some reason needs some kind of work done to it, our team also helps the local partner with that. We put it in the market, sell it, split the profits down the middle, 50-50. And that right there is the partner-driven model. And by the way, this is why I get to this day, years down the road, when we started this partner model, still get on these Tuesday night webinars. One, some of you guys are here, our partners. This is another way for us to connect. And I'm so glad you guys are here. I'm going to share some things. I'm going to teach you some things, but also for non-partners to gain confidence that this is the right way of doing the business in terms of alignment and partnerships. And most importantly, we're the right team to do that with. So we're always on the lookout for more and more partners. So having said that, today I'm going to deliver what I call the State of the Union. I want to spend the next couple of minutes with you, kind of give you an analysis of what is, from my vantage point, what is taking place, how to correctly interpret it, but beyond anything else, how to correctly monetize it. Because it's not really the interpretation that's going to make you money. It's also not like have a vision 5 years down the road that's going to make you money today. It's what is taking place today, how to interpret it, and how to monetize it. Before I get started with that, I will tell you one thing. The one thing I don't know is exactly what I just said. I do not know what's going to happen 5 years from now in this business. I don't know what's going to happen 10 years down the road from this business. And I could tell you, anyone that's telling you that they know, they're guessing, because nobody knows. Who would have known 2 years ago that COVID would hit and throw everything into turmoil, right? In essence, all the rules got changed. Everything got shifted. All the liabilities became assets. A lot of assets became liabilities. It flipped the world upside down. So because we live in the kind of world where there's a lot of unknown, it's very hard to predict the future. But the good thing is, as far as real estate is concerned, it is very easy to interpret what's taking place right now. There are businesses where it's not that easy to interpret what's taking place right now. There are businesses still that are in a state of flux, literally. Like I talk, one of the things I like to do is I like to talk to owners from different industries just to keep myself sharp, just to keep the mentally engaged and things like that. And I could tell you, there's a lot of businesses that are in a state of flux. And it has, by the way, nothing to do with the pandemic that we're just coming out of. It's just some businesses tend to exist in a state of flux. What I mean by that is and you've seen this, literally, you're driving by a shop today, looks good. You drive by the same shop a month or two down the road and the doors are closed, right? That is a business that's sustained and existed in a state of flux. Some of you guys are part of businesses like that. Some of you work in companies that are in a state of flux. Some of you have your own businesses that are in a state of flux. And that is a very, 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 I wouldn't say it's a dangerous thing, but it's a very uncomfortable thing to be a part of. The good thing about the real estate investing business is that if you can interpret it correctly, you have to interpret it correctly. You could almost always, and the reason I say almost is because there's probably things I haven't been through yet, but if you could interpret correctly what is taking place right here, right now, you could position the ship to be profitable in any condition, in any environment, in any geography. And so I would be amiss to discuss the State of the Union today and not talk somewhat, at least, about the pandemic. Because in essence, although we've obviously coming out of it, obviously in the last tail of it, nobody knows, the actual residual effect of it, but it is still affecting us. It is still affecting us. But here's the way you have to interpret what's taking place in the last year to year and a half through pandemic, and how we are concerned, and how not necessarily just concerned, but how we are affected as real estate investors. See, for many real estate investors, there's an absolute mind block between what we do and how we're interpreted, right? For instance, how do many people think we survive? By taking advantage of somebody, taking advantage of the situation they're in, profiting from somebody who doesn't know, right? Unfortunately, many times people outside of this industry interpret what we do that way. It's really unfortunate when the people inside this industry interpret that. But there could be nothing further from the truth. We are actually on the opposite side. We're problem solvers. We help people out. We help people that have certain situations. We help people that have certain needs. We have people that have timelines to their problems. We help people that need money access to at a fairly quick short period of time. So what we are, although we are real estate investors, but we are in a business of literally solving problems and solving situations for people. COVID has created a brand new group of these people. And I could tell you, the further we are down the road with COVID and the pandemic, the more and more of people out there are going to need our help, right? Because what did COVID create? COVID created what we in real estate call, and what is known in real estate as a motivated seller, right? See, before COVID, a motivated seller, a typical motivated seller was someone like a divorce situation, right? Maybe they have a divorce decree that you got to sell this house. Maybe a sickness. Somebody gets sick and all of a sudden, they got to divest Maybe somebody has a job change and their current job is saying, or their new job is saying, listen, you're starting in 45 days and be across the country. We don't care how you make it, just make it. A motivation could be a kid, right? Moving in a house or moving out of a house. So before COVID, there were some very, very what we call a death. A death could create a situation for the living family. And so before COVID hit, there was these common motivation things that we as investors many times literally targeted, right? Like I was never a huge believer in targeted that. I was a believer in targeting some other sellers, but there was actually, I know people made a lot of money and still make a lot of money by just pulling up like divorce lists, bankruptcy lists, move in the neighborhood list, move out, wanting to move out of the neighborhood. You know what I mean? And there's nothing wrong with that. But COVID created this whole new set of motivated sellers. And these are motivated sellers that are going to be more and more and more motivated as time goes on. And without getting into too much detail of that, because I think most of you understand, like at least conceptually, why COVID would motivate someone, right? I mean, COVID could have created a job loss. COVID could have created a health condition. So the same things just were created by COVID. But the other thing that has taken place during COVID that is unbeknownst to a lot of people is a lot of people were put in a position where they no longer had to make mortgage payments, right? I know to some that is like, how could COVID do that? Well, the government stepped in and literally mandated that. So it gave certain property owners kind of this reprieval time that, okay, for the next X amount of time, I don't have to pay my mortgage. Now, from the outset, you might be thinking that's actually pretty good. No, not really, because the other thing the government did is they said, well, guess what? Your tenants don't have to pay you either. So at best, it equals things out. At best, it equals things out. But guess what? A lot of owners still made their mortgage payments because they thought a step ahead. They're like, well, what happens when I have to start making these payments? Am I going to be penalized for the 5 or 6 months I missed? Is my credit going to be affected? So a lot of people got into this double whammy. No one around them's paying, right? All their buddies stopped paying. They're like, I'm not stopping because I'm capable and I know what's going to happen when I have to start paying, and I don't want to incur all these fees that'll come with it. But what they also got whacked is some of their tenants stopped paying. Well, all this to say, all of this is coming to an end. We don't have the exact dates. We have some proximate dates, but here's what's going to happen. The mortgage companies are now, going to be starting to be able to foreclose. Well, what happens to the homeowner or a landlord that decided a year and a half ago that, well, I'm going to stop making payments? Guess how many payments they possibly could miss by now? Over 5, over 10. Most Americans don't have that kind of money saved up. They have enough money to make their, right? And you know who I'm talking about. Some of you listening to me tonight are fall into that category, right? You enough money to make one mortgage payment, but you don't have enough money to make a year's worth of mortgage payments. And you sure as have don't have enough money with the fees that have been accumulated. Because again, just like most Americans, it's not like they were saving. Most people were not, like, they didn't set up a separate checking account, right? And they didn't like start saving these payments. Most people did what most people do. They're consumers. They spent these. They spent them on things like boats. How do I know? Because I bought a brand new boat last year and I couldn't find one. Okay. They said it was the lowest inventory out there. Why? Because a lot of people got a little government help, didn't have to make payments here. And what do? They started buying cars and boats. Well, side note, some of you who are going to be in the nice cars and nice boats, there's going to be a lot of them available coming up here over the next couple of years. So anyway, a lot of people got themselves in trouble, right? Now, the other thing that prevented a lot of people from selling their houses, because you might be thinking, well, why did they just sell it? Just get rid of it at that point. Well, logically, that makes all the sense in the world. But the reality is a lot of these homes, their primary home, they don't want to sell, because if they just sell their primary home, like, that's the last thing you want to get rid of, right? Because you still got your wife, you got your kids, you got your husband, you got your family that lives in the neighborhood, you got your friends, you got the schooling there. So you're not going to get rid of that, your home. But A lot of people own second homes, rental homes. So the question is, why do people just start dumping those on the market, right? Well, those second homes many times have tenants in them. And remember, not only did the guy that owns the house didn't have to pay, well, he can't even evict the tenant, right? Because the government want to make it nice and easy across the board. So a lot of tenants stop paying. Well, just like it's the moratoriums on foreclosures are being lifted, so are the same things happening at the rental end. So what's taking place right now is a lot of people who couldn't sell their second homes or rental properties, which by the way, as investors, that's the number one home we go after, now are going to be able to evict their tenants and sell their homes. Now, it could be argued they could have sold them with tenants, but not really, because most investors like myself, unless it's just a screaming deal, we don't want to buy a home with a bunch of headaches. And guess what? There's no worse tenant, no worse headache than buying a property with a tenant that's not making their monthly payments with no end in sight, right? 6 months ago, who knew when it's going to be lifted, right? A year ago at this time, nobody knew when it was lifted. So it was very, very dangerous. It was very, very dangerous for a lot of us investors to step in and buy these properties. So now moratoriums on foreclosure lifted, moratoriums on evictions are being lifted. What that is going to creating right now, a tremendous amount of sellers. They're going to need our help. They're going to need our help selling these properties. Now, a lot of people would say, well, why don't they just like list them and get rid of them? Yes, that's an option for some, but some cannot list them and get rid of them, right? Because usually when you list a property and get rid of it and sell it, a lot of times, or not a lot, but more times than none, a homeowner moves in there. You think a homeowner wants to move into a property that a non-paying tenant lived there for the last year? You know how that property looks like? It ain't pretty. And so now this owner that's got already a problem, now the mortgage company's going to be all over them because they got to pay and they don't have it. Now they got a property needs a bunch of work and they don't have the money to make their mortgage payment, much less the $10, $20, or $30,000 to fix that house. They're in trouble. They need people like us to come in, step in, and help them. So, State of the Union, as far as COVID and the pandemic is concerned, huge opportunities for us as investors to help literally millions and millions of homeowners across the United States. You notice I say homeowners because the homeowner sector is an incredible sector to be in right now. You know, if you hear me talk about this, you hear me talk about it from two sides. And really on any real estate transaction, there's two sides, right? There's the seller and there's the buyer, right? I don't care what kind of transaction you do. And usually, as far as real estate investing is concerned, the seller side and the buyer side are never equal. What I mean by that is there's too much inventory, there's too much demand, and so they're always in a state of flux. Okay, they're always, it's a buy. You hear this all the time, right? It's a buyer's market, it's a seller's market, it's a hot market, it's a dead market, it's an 08 market, it's 2015 market. You hear it all the time. I've already told you I've been at this thing for over 2 decades. And what I've never seen is what I call now the equilibrium market. And the equilibrium market is a very unique market in that there's a huge demand by the sellers. And I just spent the last 10 minutes describing you why COVID created it. But on the other side, there's a huge demand for buyers, both investor buyers and consumer buyers, retail buyers. So you may say, well, how can that be? How can so many people be in trouble? But on this side, they want to buy, because there's some other things that have taken place during COVID that have created a huge demand for real estate. Number one, unlike this side that lost, COVID created this side where a ton of people won. Matter of fact, a lot of people don't realize it, but statistically, more people actually get good than worse during COVID. So let's say, a lot of people now have cash, have made a lot of money during COVID, capitalized, their businesses actually grew. The industry we're using right now, Zoom. Go check out what's happened to Zoom during COVID. And there's a lot of other examples of small businesses, mid-sized and large-sized businesses. So now there's a tremendous amount of money on this side And you got to do something with your money, right? If you're in the United States today and you have cash and you have it in the bank, you're losing. You're absolutely losing. I want to go into a big study about that and big, but I'm telling you, you're losing. So a lot of people have capital now they would have put into hard assets. And guess what? One of the most popular hard assets out there in the world is that's real estate, specifically US real estate. The other thing, some people need to borrow money, right? They don't have this huge amount of cash. But guess what? Money's cheap right now. Money is very cheap. So families that have been for years wanting to buy a house, all of a sudden now realize this is the best time to buy a house because banks are giving money away in essence. I mean, literally, they are giving money away. Well, if someone's giving me, I'm taking. So both retail buyers, the homeowners and investor buyers, huge demand. Boom, you come together, equilibrium. Motivation here of people we need to help, and a huge supply chain here of people that need to be gotten that inventory. And we as investors, we're in the middle. Why? Because an average person here doesn't know how to get to the person here. To us, it's a no-brainer. We know how to do it, right? We're experts at it. We have apps to do it. We have lists to pull. We have scripts. We have negotiation techniques. These people, all they want is an asset, right? They just need an asset. They don't have no idea how to even get a hold of this person, much less talk to them the right way, much less contract with them the right way. So there's a huge, and this is another very important thing that real estate brings to the table. It's very hard for the two to meet. In a lot of other industries, like the less sophisticated industries, it's pretty easy. Like if you have a kid, like I have 3 kids. Well, when my kids were, 6, 7, 8, 9, they could actually set up their own lemonade stand, and so they could go directly to consumer, right? Because it's easy. It's lemonade. Not in real estate. If you're here and you need an asset called real estate, it's hard to find it and connect with it here. So this is why the investor world is so important, so critical, and why literally right now we are doing more. Just in the last 24 hours, let me just give you some real life numbers, right? And I'm not talking about what we've done. Like, I know I've been referencing COVID. I'm not talking about what we've done since COVID. I'm not talking about what we've done 3 months ago, 2 months. I'm talking about just last 12 hours. I guess it all happened last 12 hours. One deal we closed with one of our partners where we found it for $170,000. And within 1 hour, now check this out. We owned it for 1 hour. We did own it. I did have to put up $170,000. I wired it right out, right? We owned it for 1 hour, and an hour later, we sold it for $180,000. Now, 170 to 180, that's $10,000, right? Well, think about that. What can you do in 1 hour to make $10,000? Like sometimes people think, well, that's not that impressive. I got it. Okay, maybe not be. What options are you looking at right now that in 1 hour, and don't even forget options. When was the last time you held something for an hour and made $10,000? Hour well spent, right? We did another deal in the last 12 hours where we actually bought the house about 45 days ago, about a month and a half for, I believe, 165, either 165 or 175. I can't remember. 175. I'm sorry. We bought it for 175. We spend under $2,000 fixing it. Like that's not even a fixing. I can't even say the word fixing when you're spending under $2,000 on a, almost a $200,000 asset. That probably means we like maybe cleaned it up or maybe swept it, basically did nothing to it, and sold it here last night for $240,000. That's $65,000 in the last 45 days. Again, some of you guys are trying to figure out, is this the right thing for me to do? Is real estate the right thing for me? And I will tell you, if you're cranking out in 1 hour $10,000 a pop, if you're cranking out in 40 days $65,000 a pop, you got some tough decisions to make. I get it. But if you're not, now, granted, if this doesn't impress you and this is not what gets you going, and this is not exciting, that disqualifies you also. But if that gets you going, that's exciting. If you could actually find a use for it, then you may very, very, very seriously consider this industry, right? The State of the Union. Here's what else is taking place. Right now, there are different sectors of the real estate industry, right? And we all know this. Like there's the commercial sector, there's office sector, there's the retail sector, there's a warehouse sector. I'm sure I'm missing stuff out, right? So real estate has sectors. It's like the word medicine. Within medicine, you know, there's a dentist, there's a surgeon, there's a chiropractor. They all fall under the same territory, but they all mean and do different things. I could tell you this, there are some sectors of real estate that I cannot make them as rosy as I'm making up to this point. I will tell you, I've been talking about the single family sector. Okay. So just so you understand, everything I've said in the last 30 or 40 minutes have been tied into the single sector, to the single family sector. By the way, the reason for that is that's what I'm the real expert in. That's what I partner with people and do across the nation. That's what I've done more than any, although I've done all those other sectors. This is the sector that I have, you know, I hate to use the word mastered, but I have gotten extremely good, and so is the team behind me in terms of doing single family home. Having said that, there are some sectors in the real estate business who, which aren't doing as well for obvious reasons, right? Like think about this during COVID. How well do you think the office space has been doing? I mean, what happened during COVID? Did companies expand and they're like, oh, hey, everyone's going to stay home, so let's go buy another 3 offices? No, opposite. Like we're a great example. Before COVID hit, we had almost a 10,000 square foot office building, right? COVID hits, everybody goes home. Obviously, we don't stop working. Everybody works. And we discovered what millions of other companies discovered. Wow, the production has not been hurt. We discovered something that other millions of companies discovered. Production actually went up. Now, I have my own kind of ideas of why it went up. Like for us personally, the reason it went up is because we're in that perfect sector to be in, real estate, single family. Plus, the other reason I think so many people starting being more productive is the timelines get blurred, right, at home. Like if you're working at a regular company like ours, we had office hours, right? People would come in 8 or 9 in the morning, and by 5 or 6 they're out and physically gone and mentally gone. But now, so this is kind of my own speculation to why across the board for almost all the companies, or tremendous amount of company, the production went on. Now people are at home, so they're not thinking, okay, let me see what time it is. Oh, it's 5 o'clock. Let me shut it all down. No, totally opposite. Totally opposite. So I know we have people right now on our team that are doing deals with people on the West Coast. I guarantee you there's somebody from my team right now, or probably in the next couple hours, will be communicating with somebody because they're at home, and it's a lot easier to pick up the phone at 8 or 9 o'clock at night than when that phone is sitting in the office and ringing. So anyway, so production actually went up. So the office space is kind of hurting. Now, it's a two-edged sword. Somebody could argue and say, well, Pete, that's actually good, because if I'm an office space investor, this is a fantastic opportunity for me to dive in and get things while they're low. I'm not arguing that case. Okay. I'm not arguing, saying that that's incorrect, but I'm talking about like making money today. And chances are, yes, you could probably get that office building cheaper today than you did a year or two ago, but it's probably going to be harder for you to fill it today, capitalize on it today, and make as much money as you could have a year or two ago. With time, I get it. With time, I do believe things are going to come back and all this stuff. But that's what's known in real estate as more of a speculative play, right? You speculate on that. I could tell you, I've never been much for speculating, right? I don't like to speculate. I like the sure thing. So this is why, we've been, I've charted a course for the partner-driven family and the partner-driven team to really stay the course of single family. Having said that, I will let you know that we are going to slowly, and this is exciting for existing partners and for people that are, like thinking about being one of our partners, we are going to swerve slowly, and I do mean slowly, into the commercial space. And by when I say commercial, that's an all encompassing. It could be a warehouse, could be retail, very encompassing. We are going to start swerving more into that space because actually within that space, there is some segments and there's some incredible opportunities. And we're bringing on probably the leading expert in the world, that's going to help us do that. Okay. So exciting news when it comes to that. But again, that's going to be done in a kind of slow movement. It's going to be done in a very controlled way. And again, even within that sector, we're going to be very strategic of how we go after it. State of the Union. State of the Union is this. I'm going to tell you right now, it is an incredible time to be in the real estate business. In 22 plus years, I have never seen the opportunities that we're seeing right now. In 22 years, I have seen ups, I've seen downs, I've seen raises, I've seen crashes, I've seen it all. I could tell you right now, I am more excited than ever. I'm more excited than ever about where we are right now. I don't say it, I preach it. I do it. I'm an active participant in this. I'm an active investor. I'm not on the sideline saying, you should do it. I'm a player saying, come join me. I'm so excited about it. Let me tell you what I'm currently doing. One of the huge advantages our partners have with us is they have the ability to use our money, in essence, my money, to do deals with. And that's a big advantage for our partners. As a matter of fact, a lot of our partners, when they initially start, that's exactly the reason they start. Once they get started, they realize there's so many other benefits. It's unbelievable and all this. But that is one of the big advantages of why people start in our partnership. Well, guess what? I'm sure everybody knows this. Sometimes people don't want to talk about it. I don't have unlimited money, right? I mean, I have decent amount of money, but I don't just have unlimited amount of money. I am so fired up about what's taking place. I so clearly see the vision of what's ahead for us. I so buy into it myself, not preach it to you, but buy into it myself, that just this morning I was talking to Julie and I said, we got to increase the coffers behind this. Let's bring more on. Come on, more trucks, more cash, more money behind us, because I know it's about ready to go crazy here. It's about ready to get really, as crazy it is right now, as we're doing more deals with our partners than we ever have before. By the way, that's for a lot of reasons, both A, for the State of the Union, B, for the partners that we're working with, for the team that we have here. There's a lot of things that have kind of, come together. But I could tell you right now, we are beefing ourselves up, because what's taking place and what's about ready to take place is even more exciting than what's taking place here in a short period of time. The State of the Union, as far as real estate investing is concerned, we have an incredible present time that we're in. At least from a short-term to a midterm time frame, I could tell you, I fully believe it's only get better. How long will that last? I can't give you that, but it's like anything else. I was taught this by an incredible mentor of mine. His name was Reggie. And Reggie was an Entrepreneur of the Year by Success Magazine. So he had all the credentials to be not only my mentor, but he ended up mentoring a lot of guys around the country. He's recently passed away a year or so ago. But Reggie told me this principle in business. I remember Reggie told me, Pete, business is kind of like being a surfer. A surfer, you may sit there on that board for hours. You may just sit there. But then all of a sudden, the right wave will hit. And when that right wave hits, you better get on. And you better ride it for all it's worth. Because two things. One, it's an incredible wave. Two, it'll come to an end. And he said, Pete, that right there is a definition of successful people as opposed to the guy constantly looking and never doing. And I can tell you right now, we're in a wave. We're in a literal wave when it comes to our industry. And the question is not whether we are in a wave or not. No one's like putting this up for like debate. Everybody knows it. I don't know anybody who would argue my point in the sector that we're in. I don't know anyone. Couple questions. Are you in the wave? And how long will the wave last? I'm on the wave. I don't know how long it's going to last, but I'm going to squeeze every single thing I possibly can out of it. And that's ultimately when people make a decision. You know, if you're a partner here tonight, here's the decision you got to make tonight. Are you squeezing everything you can out of it? Even with our help, are you truly squeezing everything you can out of it? If you're not a partner here tonight, are you ready to squeeze it? And if you are, you got one of two ways to do it. Go figure it out yourself. Problem with that is you may actually miss the wave. It's a tough business to figure out. Very tough. Nothing in this business happens overnight. If you're going to do it yourself, you probably go backwards before you go forwards. Imagine riding a wave and just going over the crest and like, well, let me practice a little bit. You're done. So if you're not a partner, you just got to decide. Are you going to just okay to miss it? Or are you ready to crush it? If you're ready to crush it, we're ready to help you. If you're not a partner here tonight, we have a couple team members on standby here tonight that are ready to talk to you and get you into the world of partner-driven real estate investing. And you can call them directly, go over whatever questions you may have, or you may do what I usually do is like, let's go. By the way, part of us being successful is being able to make a decision without having 100% all the facts. Only people who have all the facts are the ones that do nothing. But the couple key team members on standby here tonight at 770-746-8585. 770-746-8585. Guys, I had fun. I really did. I love doing these because I get fired up myself, right? Sometimes you know the answers, but verbalizing them gets you even more excited. We're in unprecedented times, incredible times to be a real estate investor. People need us. What an incredible opportunity where you could actually help someone and profit from it. Incredible time. So on behalf of myself and this whole team of people that are behind me that make all this stuff happen. Again, my name is Peter Vekselman. I hope I see you this weekend, June 26th, June 27th, here in Atlanta, Georgia, at the Partner Driven Live. If you're kind of in the borderline, well, I don't know. I mean, was this guy even real? Where's that team behind him? You might just want to go to show up at Partner Driven Live. It's less than $100 to sign up. And I think if you show up there, all the questions you may have, all the doubts will be erased. And if nothing else, you'll learn a ton. So, Peter Vekselman, I'm signing off, but I'll be back same time, same place next week. Thanks, guys.